Hiya guys, it's Sarah and this is my alien art life and we're going to talk about Dyatlov's Pass today. Okay, so it's Russia, it's cold, and it's 1959. That alone is terrifying. You know, there's 10 young people, there's 7 men and 2 women, and they're all young and bright and bushy-tailed, and they're ready to go out and explore this Russian wilderness together. Except for one guy, Zolotary Simon Alexeyevich. He liked to be called Sasha. He also liked to be called Simon. He introduced himself as Alexander Alexeyevich. He's so many names going through these diaries. He just loves all the names. He wants all the names. He also has gold teeth, not the worst kind of teeth to have. They're not wooden. George Washington had wooden teeth. It's a huge step up. Anyway, he's more mature, he's older, he was in the armed forces, he had 4 combat awards. This guy means business. And you can tell because of his golden teeth. It's like a Russian pirate. Do they have Russian pirates? It doesn't matter. We're moving on. So everyone's young, except for this guy. So the leader of the group is Igor Dyatlov. Thus, Dyatlov's Pass. They named the pass after the guy, not the guy after the pass. Okay. So he's dating Xena, or courting Xena, I guess, in those days. And fun love triangle info, Xena used to date or court Yuri Doroshenko. So these guys apparently are just friends. Like, it doesn't really bother them. You know how the old story goes, boy meets girl. Girl introduces boy to mom and dad. Boy and girl break up. Girl finds another guy. And then they all go on a big ski trip together into the wilderness with some more strangers. Honestly though, it's 1959, no one cares, everybody's a friend, and they all get together. Some of them know each other. I don't know which ones know each other. And they all go on this trip. Somebody's looking after Yuri Yudin because he gets sick before the major part of this skiing trek. He's like, screw you guys, I'm staying behind because I don't feel well. I've got the sniffles and it's too goddamn cold out there. And then there were 9. These guys were a team. They were so much of a team that they actually took 2 4-person tents and they sewed them together. And in the middle, they put the stove to keep themselves warm throughout the night. However, in one of the pictures, I should note, so the chimney of the stove actually pops out of one side of the tent. So I believe the stove is in the middle and then the stack goes out one end of the tent and up. So according to the diaries that were left behind, if you slow the group down one day, the next day you had to do like double chores or double duties. There were rules, you have to finish setting up the camp before anyone sits next to the fire. The diaries mention celebrating Yuri's birthday. I think it was on the 29th. Funny enough, just a little tidbit, the next day, Sasha was like, today is my birthday. What a coincidence. And they gave him a tangerine and he shared the tangerine and everyone was like, that's so weird. But guess what? It was not Sasha's birthday. Sasha's a liar. Again, making mischief with his golden teeth. I mean, hats off to him. I don't blame him. Because you know what? You're out there in the wilderness. Who's going to care whose birthday it is? You get a free tangerine out of it. It's my birthday every day. If I get a free tangerine, I'm there for it. I feel him. I really do. So for 3 days, they camped by the river. And in those diaries, it also mentions that they were following this deer trail and they had found a hunter's footprints in the snow and they were following those footprints. Nowhere where I have seen does it mention anything about who this hunter was, if they found him, if they spoke with him, or if they had any inclination as to who this individual was, just because they may have heard something or known more about the conditions on the slope at that time than maybe searchers didn't know. That's not really mentioned in anything that I've read. If anyone knows anything about those tracks or that hunter, please let me know in the link or in the comments below because I couldn't find anything. So on that last day on February 1st, apparently they wake up late. That's bad. They hike for 2 kilometers up the slope of this mountain, which is a bit odd because I believe originally they were going through the woods and they were talking about how everything was getting more sparse, like the trees were getting more sparse. and becoming thinner. It was harder to find wood, so it's a little bit unusual in my mind that they would start heading up the side of the mountain, unless maybe that was going to be a summit that they wanted to reach, or I'm not sure what other factors would lead them up instead of along the bottom. If any of you are used to maybe ski hiking, you could let me know in the bottom why someone or why a group would go upwards as opposed to easiest path if they're already having a little bit of a hard time in general. So it was presumed that a freak storm or blizzard happened, and that's why they stopped on the side of the slope to set up camp. They had laid their skis down instead of the birch trees that they normally do for the tent. They successfully had started pulling out food because there was ham on the Russian website. It mentioned that there was ham set out and it looked like it was about to be prepared, uneaten, but it was out. Also, all of their shoes were in one corner on the left-hand side in the entryway of the tent. So up until this point, it looks like these guys they're having a rough time because they had to stop early at 5. They're setting up for dinner around 6 or 7, or maybe they had some dinner around 6 or 7. That's kind of unclear to me based on the notes. It seems like everything is going well for them until disaster strikes. The next thing that we really know is what the rescuers found the months following. So underneath of the snow, they did find all of the bodies from that group. None of the individuals were properly dressed. This means that every single person was in a hurry to get out of there as fast as possible due to some sort of emergency. Enough so that they ended up almost a mile away from their tent without shoes or proper clothing. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over the injuries and cause of death for the individuals. I know that this is the primary focus of a lot of videos, so I just really want to quickly go over that before the theories that I've found online. So 2 men, Doroshenko and Kranishenko, under the individuals that were under the cedar tree that had attempted to start a fire or did start a fire, they actually died from hypothermia, even though they did have bruises and scrapes on their bodies. They had actually, a lot of the individuals, as I mentioned before, did take clothes from the others, presumed dead, to help themselves keep warm. They weren't able to take the clothes off because they had to cut them off, obviously, because of the cold. The individuals that were found on the way back to the tent, Dyatlov being one of those, as well as Slobodin and Kolmogorova. Kolmogorova. They were also found each falling and succumbing to the elements on the way back, so they died from hypothermia. They were discovered on February 27th. Strangely enough, searchers assumed they were blown out of the tent. That's why that all of these individuals didn't have their clothing on. So that's what was first assumed when they found these individuals towards the trees. The other 4 individuals, Kolevatov, Tybo, Dubinina, and Zolotarev, they actually were found as having extensive injuries, like broken ribs, and then Tybo had a skull fracture as well. It does mention in a lot of the areas how Dubinina's tongue was missing. It's important to note that there was a lot of water at the bottom of that ravine flowing underneath of the 3 meters of snow that these bodies were found in, and that could be a partial explanation for why certain individuals' eyes and tongues were missing because of the decomposition process and how it was different from parts of their body that were in the snow versus parts of their body that were submerged in water continually throughout the month as the water flowed underneath of the snow. Now, the broken injuries couldn't have been from anyone using any kind of force like a bat or an incident that involved fighting. It was most likely due to a really intense force that was comparable to a car accident, or perhaps a avalanche that had broken these individuals going down the slope. Theories put forth onto what happened to these individuals during that incident include the Manzi tribe and an attack from that group. However, no evidence has been found supporting that. One theory is that special forces stumbled upon the group and had to cover up their deaths because they saw something they shouldn't have. One of the trackers did mention seeing a boot print or a heel print that he thought could have been from some sort of armed forces boot. However, that was not part of something major that they focused on. Another idea put forth is from a Yeti. I don't have anything that I could find suggesting any kind of evidence for that. UFOs were seen in the area by search and rescuers as they were looking for the group that month. And I do think that is significant because those UFOs were considered to be balls of light. I don't think that we can rule out ball lightning for that situation, or perhaps some sort of secret special forces type of operations going on at the time. Okay, so I'm actually going to wrap this video up. It's getting a bit long. I was really excited to read more into the diaries and get a feel for how this group operated, but I want to hear your theories on what happened to them and what could make them leave that tent. Let me know in the comments and tell me what kind of resources you found that we can find some more information. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you guys want to visit my website, I am an artist. Till next time, bye!